The following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
Welcome to Aftergate, powered by the Defy Life Network. Aftergate is a podcast series highlighting Colgate alumni of color in their professional endeavors after Gate. Aftergate is hosted by Alvin Glimp, aka Al, and Herman Dubois, aka Jerry. We are doing Aftergate because Colgate University has produced innovators who have changed the world every day. Yet many alumni of color in the mainstream Colgate community are unaware of the amazing accomplishments of Colgate alumni of color.
Welcome to another episode of Aftergate. And here I am the co-host, and I am with my co-host, Jerry Dubois. I'm Alvin Glimp, and we are excited to do another episode with one of our homies 30 years deep. So this is going to be interesting.
All right.
Don't do that. Don't do
We,
that.
we've got data.
Okay. We got pictures. So don't play. We got
Oh.
proof.
Happens we meet people at 2.
So
You're not on the air yet. You're not supposed to be saying nothing. Okay. Okay.
Shirene's been a rule breaker for
Well,
a long
we might have to
time.
just mute her mic right now.
She's been a rule breaker for a long time. This gonna be fun. But first, let me check in as I always do. My man, G, how you doing?
What's good, brother? What's good? Life is well. Alive and free, brother. That's all I aim to be these days. Alive and free.
Alive and free, healthy,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Feeling
family's
good.
healthy.
Everyone's well. Up in the BX, even though I'm down in the MIA.
Yes.
Thank God for technology and video and allows you to stay in touch, even though you're disconnected physically. But yeah, man, all is well. And your family good too?
Man, everybody's good, man. Just it's a good month. A lot of birthdays this month, and
Mhm.
school's back in session. My son has moved out. My daughter
That's right.
started her job. So, it's a lot of things that are colliding in my life that is always a good thing. And so this is always a release to a nice use of my energy. So it is a passion project.
Yes, new
Yes.
buzzword we
New
came into.
buzzword,
Passion
passion
projects.
project.
Yes.
Shout out to Kendra Brim.
Yes.
But that being said, I'm doing good. You doing good? Let's jump into our guest. So tonight, this afternoon, this evening, whenever you are listening to this podcast, we would like to introduce and welcome class of 91's own Shirene D. Brown, aka Beanie, aka member of the Dope Hip Hop Session crew.
Yeah.
What
Miss
up?
Brown.
Uh,
Yeah.
Hartford, Connecticut. I know somewhere in Connecticut. Where you from? Hartford's
Hartford.
own.
Hartford Tone. Is that where you
Hartford's
reside these
own.
days, or are you still in Hartford or
No. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Been there
North
since
Carolina?
graduation.
The Kakalakis. Okay.
Yeah.
Been there since
Not
graduation.
here.
Little side note. We do side notes all throughout the cast. We dropped you off in North Carolina on our way down to Florida on that famous trip, Jerry, where we came down to visit you for spring break.
Yeah. Okay. So she deserves some of the of the feedback that came from the van owner
You,
about
you,
jacking the about jack
okay. You the
about
one who took my van. Yes,
right
I was on
right
that trip. That was me.
right. It's a
That was me.
collective responsibility for
Right.
that.
But
Yeah.
that was a highlight. That was a great trip. Enjoyed
hmm
it. Okay. Well, what's
Yeah.
up, Beanie?
Going on? What's going on? Nothing at all. 11 life.
Excellent.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Well,
So we
welcome
gotta
to the
ask,
show.
have you familiarized yourself with any of the prior podcasts, or not that we encourage it one way or the other. By now, we are on a lot of platforms that people just accidentally come across us, but being that you have access to the inner circle of trust, What's your thoughts? What you've been, what's your take on what we've been doing?
I've been loving it. Actually, I listened to most of them, and it was pretty. I like the way we actually get to find out what people are doing, and I've heard some impressive,
Hmm.
a lot of educators. So that is not what I went into on one aspect of it, but it's just great to see what everybody's doing and the accomplishments they've made. So yes, I am
Do
up
that.
on Spotify. I'm
Okay.
listening to you. So
Okay.
yeah.
Shout out to Spotify.
Shout out to Spotify. Love all those platforms that are
Hmm.
running Aftergate. So let's jump on in, can we, Beanie? So let's go back because I met you. It was
Oh God,
Scholars Program then. It wasn't OUS.
Right,
thank
right.
you.
Summer 87.
Summer of '87. Tell us what was life like for you before you get to Colgate? What was the world like in Hartford before you get to
What
Colgate?
was your world, dear?
Okay, so my world actually was not Hartford, because I was in boarding school. So
Mm.
I actually,
I
I
forgot that.
you didn't know that? You
No, I
forgot?
said I forgot that.
I didn't know. I didn't
I
know
was ahead of all of y'all because
that.
I was already free. I graduated in May, and that was the first time I actually had gone home. So I spent 4 or 5 weeks. But prior to graduating, every summer I always was up and upward bound. So I hadn't
Mm.
been home. I've been in upward bound. My father worked there, so I was there for.
Okay. See,
Uh,
that was my
but
first job out of Colgate.
upward bound,
I was an
and
upper bound counselor.
yeah, I loved it. I hate that it's gone now, but it's been a good starting point for a lot of people. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
So I was chilling. I can honestly say I was in my own little world off of Hartford. So, but if I lived in Hartford, it would be a different thing. Um, just because of what was going on in actual life back then. But
Can you share where you
I
were in boarding school?
it was in Simsbury, which is 30 minutes away. I was just talking about this the other day, Connecticut. But I was only allowed to come home. I think we had October and then Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then we had a spring break and then home. So I was on campus the entire time, chilling. I mean, enjoying it because it was more of a college atmosphere up there. Meaning we had a college schedule for our classes, except we went to school Monday through Saturday. So it was a lot of freedom. So when it was time to go to college and upward bound, I'm sorry, with the scholars program, I actually did not want to go because I was like, I've been going to school every summer for 17 years. Can I get a break? But obviously that wasn't going to happen. But
You were in boarding school K through 12?
no, but my father worked for the University of Connecticut, so he worked for the Upward Bound. So I had to be up
Or
there
already know. Yep.
in class every summer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a break, and that didn't work. So
Got it.
What was the name of the school?
Westminster School.
Okay.
Westminster.
Okay.
So
So you
outside of,
mentioned,
oh,
hold on,
sorry,
you
go ahead. Yeah.
mentioned things were going on in Hartford.
Hmm.
What's going on in Hartford? Give us a sense of what Hartford's like.
A lot of drug dealing. It's like, I mean, it was, that was the thing back then. It was drug dealers, uh, just territorial wars going on with the same stuff that's going on now, but it was back then it was a little different. So that was where I grew up. That's what I knew in that area, and that's where I hung out with. But of course, you sort of separated yourself from it. But I mean, that was honestly, the main thing going on, and that was one reason I was happy to get away and just get away from Connecticut because, well, I ended up dating a drug dealer, but you
Oh,
end that that's what
did you say y'all had to get away? Was it you had said?
I needed to get away because if not, that's the type, and I shouldn't say that, but that's the type of life that I would have ended up in.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was the only outlet. That's where you made the money. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
people did back there. That's what was accepted.
You
Um,
you was one of them girls dating those drug dealers riding around in the Jeeps with the chains. That was you?
no, I didn't have a Jeep.
Yeah, she had the big band.
I
She
didn't
had
have
the big bamboo earrings.
but
No.
no, I didn't do that either. I had a
Okay.
white dealer. It's just he wasn't business savvy. I tried to teach him, but no, it was So no, I just, it was like he was somebody I knew from high school, around no, not high school, but down the street from my grandmother. And but it was like so upward bound, and then obviously Colgate got me out that atmosphere. It wasn't the way that I wanted. I knew there was more for me to do in life. Let me just say it that way. So I had to get away.
Gotcha. What you gonna ask, Jerry? My fault.
A follow up just to, besides what was happening in sort of your immediate community with Hartford, just the fact that you had access to a university campus throughout, your life, and the fact that you had access to a boarding school experience that brought you around a lot of other people in different, facets of life. Can you think back to what maybe your worldly outlook was, or how you saw the world in terms of beyond Connecticut? What might have been the highs or the lows of what you thought your life would be about going into adulthood, going into college, going into a career, and people would say, what is it you want out of life, or what do you want to be? What was happening at that time?
Um, Actually, the only thing, which is funny, the only thing I wanted to do was be rich. It didn't
Mm,
matter how I did it, but that was what I wanted to do was be rich. I wanted to be able to go into corporate America, have this job, hang my little outline, and just work my way up to the top, and I'm gonna have all this money. It's like I say I was in my little world on boarding school because obviously I had access to a lot of different people. The majority of school was white. There were only 10 black people on campus.
wow.
Yeah, it was, but there were probably like 360, 400 students total.
Hmm.
But the funny thing is that we had our own, most of the black students still stuck together. And my goal was because my first year with boarding school was not the best at all. Wasn't a good experience. So my goal was to make sure the next black students that came along had a different experience. So we pretty much hung out and just made it fun. So we stuck together, but it was totally different. I was thinking about it. Like the students that I met in high school were nothing like the students that I met or interacted with at Colgate.
Mm,
Hmm.
It's a totally different vibe there. And the one thing I do remember is that two people from my school actually went to Colgate. One was a class ahead of me, and the other one was my same year who I hung out with. I managed on the basketball team, would never speak to me on campus. So,
Wow.
yeah, never spoke to me on campus
Nonetheless, without
at
further
all, and
ado,
probably just turned the other way. But like I said, we used to hang out in high school. So, my high school was totally different and gave me a false reality of dealing with white people in the real world. Let me just say it that way.
so then okay, fast forward. What's life like when you are first year student? I know you lived in HRC your freshman year.
Hmm.
So give us a sense of because you coming from a boarding school, predominantly white, while you although you said it was different, it definitely a different transition than many of us who was
mhm.
coming from an urban environment, high schools where there weren't a lot of white kids. So I'm just curious to hear from your perspective what life
Zero.
was like.
Well, okay. Yeah, I was like, it was a little HBCU to me. I didn't the actual. I mean, I hate to say it, but I didn't really interact with the white people outside of the classroom.
Mm,
Honestly, I didn't. I don't. I can't remember probably like two, and I think I'm lying when I say I remember two because I didn't interact with them. But before boarding school, I did go to high school, which was an all black high school. The last white person graduated in 87 out of 1,400, 1,500 students. So that was the year I graduated. He was one of my classmates from fifth grade up. He was the last white student in the school.
mm,
So I came from an urban environment.
okay.
My daddy wanted me to go to a
So
non,
you was already seeing both sides of the world coming into Colgate. So
yes.
that's an interesting phrase, a little HBCU.
Hmm.
Um, I've never heard that phrase before. So just give me a little bit more on why you say that, what you mean by that. Like, just
Oh, be-
interesting.
Well, and I'm down here in North Carolina A&T State University. Absolutely love it. I'm an honorary student down here. It is
Mm,
one of the best HBCUs. But when I say an HBCU, it's because we had the Harlem Renaissance Center. I talk about it now. We had the Black Student Union. We had We Funk. We had the
yeah. So
Sojourners.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And we had everything that we wanted to have right there out of the 118 the blacks and the Latinos. That's what we had. So it was a microcosm for me.
Hmm.
And that's what I absorbed and that's what I worked for and that's what I took and worked with. So I literally was in a black environment the entire time. That's I was in class. Even, remember we sat in the caf and people would ask us why all the black folks sitting together. This is just
Mm-hmm.
what we did, or what I did in my time. And it wasn't intentional. I just went with who I could relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I can relate. Everybody. That's who I can relate with. Those are the people that I grew up with. Those are the people who knew my story and actually looked at my story and didn't look at me like I didn't belong here or that I got here the wrong way. And it was actually pretty a little intimidating to begin with because I went probably from number 4 in my class in high school to the other school, but just to be around so many more black people that were smarter than me, it didn't make me. It made me. It probably should have made me learn more, but it just felt good to see that there were so many intelligent people that I was with. But it's just it was my own world. The one difference, and I say it all the time, if I went to an HBCU, I would have flunked out.
Mm,
I feel the
really?
same way. I feel
Not
the same way.
educationally, but because I would have partied my butt off.
Yeah.
And
Mm,
not excuse I would have partied the entire time and I would not have learned as much as I did about the African American culture, about all these different groups. I wouldn't have learned that because I didn't have to take it there. We didn't have to fight. We wouldn't have had to fight for our right to be heard
mm,
on campus and make sure we're seen. So it's totally different. I love them. I love what they teach, but if you weren't there, if you're not there to learn it, you don't know it. You don't know it. And it's like I'm still looking like the radical one down here because they're not my friends, I should say, they're not used to it. They're in their atmosphere, their zone all the time. We made our zone.
mm.
So
Mm.
it's totally different.
It's almost like you could be in an HBCU, but not necessarily have a mindset of being Afrocentric or need to understand your history, your identity,
Mhm.
because you're just submerged with each other and think, well, it's all good until you remove from that setting and you realize, whoa, wait a minute, we ain't even being acknowledged here. So
Exactly.
interesting, interesting, interesting.
I
I think.
remember hmm when
Go
I
ahead.
came down here, I remember it was I'm not anyway. So there was somebody I knew, and they actually went to A and T, and they were going to UNC Chapel Hill to go to dental school. And the one thing I told them when they were going, I said, "Remember who you are." And they looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, "Remember you who you
Mm,
are." They didn't know what I was talking about until they got on campus, and guess what? Everybody was looking at them like they didn't deserve to be there.
Mm.
And it was just you just had to stand strong on who you were and just prove that and you have to prove all over again that you're that person. So yeah, it's a totally different atmosphere and you don't from everybody I know they don't have to take any type of African American anything. They're doing just their like mostly everybody else does in every other school. They don't have to focus on anything. They don't have to join any of the groups that we joined, that we wanted to join, or that I wanted to join. They don't. It's just it's a normal day. It's a
mm,
normal day there.
I The other thing I want to lift up is the idea that we made our fun, and I think that's something that's pretty consistent in terms of what we talk about for those who were able to leave there not totally depressed and having some social life is because for the most part we were able to make it our fun. And I think Leroy Cody, I think that was the phrase he used. And I think when you go to a HBCU, it's a lot of fun just sitting right there on your doorstep. You don't really have to make it. It's a whole different personality. I mean, whole different perspective. But I'm curious. You mentioned so. What were some of the things extracurricular? You mentioned managing a basketball team. What else did you do while you were there?
In boarding school.
No, at Colgate.
Okay,
Colgate.
so I'm
Some of your
at
extracurricular.
Colgate. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Colgate. Yeah, I didn't manage the basketball team at Colgate. At Colgate. I mean, I'm like I play intramural sports. I remember playing volley, which cracked me up. Volleyball. I was one person on the team because I think we did it by dorms, and I was playing at some other. I almost won though. It's like the other team had a whole team, and it was me on the other
Wait,
side.
you were playing one against a dorm.
And
What is
bring
What
it
dorm?
on.
And what dorm were you representing?
I think probably HSC. I had to be. I don't know who I
And
was.
no one, and nobody showed up.
One
Come
against
on.
six. I'm not scared of y'all. Bring it.
Bring it.
I was there already. I mean, so I did that. So I had Kim Thomas and I had a radio show, Sugar and Spice, the first year.
All right.
Um,
Sugar
let
and spice.
Yeah, Sugar and Spice. I did Wheat Funk, so what I DJ for 2 years, I think. I was a
Gotcha.
DJ for 2 years. I mean, worked at Cultural Arts Center, of course, and we had all the work studies. What else did I do at Colgate? I worked for OUS, but that was just working. I'm trying to think.
You worked in the office with Sarah?
Yeah, Sarah.
Okay.
I worked, and of course, I worked in the caf, and but
You
that's
was
like I said,
Cafeteria
that's just
for those people who don't know.
the
you was
main
a
cafeteria,
you was a
and
saga
that's
worker.
Saga.
and I remember like freshman. Oh God. Anyway, but freshman year, for some reason, I remember they made the donuts downstairs, and I just remember going downstairs, sneaking and snatching up a whole bunch of donuts to take back to the dorm.
Time to
So
make the donuts. And then you had then you had your non-work study hustles because one of the things I remember about being was like, you know, this is remember, pre technology. So you was like a master typist,
Mm.
so you was cracking out papers.
I know, and I was looking, I was like, where was I type? Who had a computer? That was a question, but yes, I was typing papers out. Yeah, I would write the papers too. Type on, like
Type them, write them, grade them.
whatever I did. I don't know how I made it out of school, but that what else did I do? I feel like so BSU, which went to the African American Student Alliance. I think that was it. That was a lot right there.
I think wait, weren't you VP senior year?
Yeah, yeah, you were president.
I was wondering. I thought you was on the executive squad. I was wondering. I thought I was gonna say either VP or treasurer. I know you was handling money.
No, I was a VP. Now I was
Okay.
Okay.
working for y'all's t-shirt company for a while there.
Kemet wear.
Everywhere. Um, I think that was plenty right there. I think that's all I did. I would jump in sometimes for and sing background for somebody. And or
Colgate. You mean talking about Colgate 13?
no,
No.
I don't know who did the plays. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I'd sing backup, singing in the band or whatever it was. If you asked me to do it, I was gonna do it.
Mhm.
That's
You
it.
you was fearless. You
Yeah,
definitely was down for whatever. Like, all right, I'll do it.
exactly. It doesn't matter what y'all gonna do. Look at me differently. So,
Would
but
would
that
you
huh?
would you classify, I mean, taking it not only with extracurricular, but thinking about your academic experience, just the whole 4 year, A to Z, if you had to highlight what you feel are like your own personal accomplishments or your success stories, what might some of those be?
Graduating.
Hmm.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Don't-
That was a big success story. That's a good question. I think I really enjoyed being an African American student line, Black Student Union. I did that. I love the formals. I love it just taught me
Mm.
event planning. So I did like that type of stuff. But like I said, graduating was the key thing for me on time. Um, but it's like I feel like I know I had a ball. I probably should have studied more. Would I do it any differently? I
Yeah.
doubt it.
Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's good. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much in there were a couple of little times, but I loved it there. I loved it. There were some things that I had to come back and actually adjust to. And, I've left the campus and didn't return for 25 years. But when I think about it, I was like, Colgate made me. It made me, excuse me, let me not say it that way, but I am the person I am today, partly because I went to Colgate.
Mm-hmm.
So I love who I am today. Therefore, I have to love where I went to school
Mm.
All
because
right. All right.
no regrets at all. Yeah, no regrets. But I think that was pretty much it. Accomplishments, too many things. I just felt like I did a lot. I did what I wanted to do. I enjoyed most of it. Um, and there's really no complaints because I'm just looking internally. I'm not looking at the entire school. I can't control that school, but I'm just looking at what I took out of it. And I remember even just throwing the parties. Something for me, one of my biggest accomplishments, honestly, is cooking for Angela Davis.
Mm. Talk
Oh,
about it.
what's up?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. That's
Tell me
right.
about that. What did
That was
like?
at the Cultural Arts Center when we brought her on campus, and I remember she was vegetarian. I just learned how to cook. My brother was coming from Japan. He taught me how to cook hibachi or whatever it was, and I cooked that because she was vegetarian.
Mm.
Mm,
So it was really a lot of the speakers that we brought on campus that
mm-hmm.
actually got to interact with. Those were more learning experiences to me than the classroom a lot of times. Because the classroom, I'm good. I can remember stuff and repeat it too. So I didn't pay attention. Those things I live with for the rest of my life, and I'm proud of what I did because who would have, how many times you get to cook for her? How many
Word.
times do you get to eat with Kwame Ture? How many
Mm.
times do you get to do that in life?
What did you major in?
I majored in SoAn. I changed majors a couple of times. I majored in SoAn with a minor in African American studies. But, if y'all stuck a gun in my head and asked me, I couldn't tell you. I think that's what it was.
Like more importantly, you said
Because
you changed a couple of times, so it sounded like was it like default or was it by choice? Was it like process of
default,
elimination? Like
default. What had happened was I came and originally, well, you don't know, but I wanted to be a doctor. Like I said, I wanted to make money. And
Mm.
so I don't, but I wanted to be a chemist. I love chemistry. But for some reason, I took calc. I think I had calc 2 in high school, but I took calc 1 and calculus 1 in college. And yeah, that didn't work. And so I think I tried it twice and it did not work for me. So then I switched over to econ and supply and demand. That's all I got is that chart, and that was it. So I withdrew from that. And then I was doing Spanish as my major, and then I couldn't understand the Little Prince and write a Spanish, whatever. We had to write a paper in Spanish on it, so I had to leave that alone. And I had already had everything for SoAn and African American Studies. I probably needed like one or two classes, so that was my major by default,
okay.
Wow.
and I used it all of my life.
But here's a question: what do you miss about those 4 years?
Everybody's same answer was just the friendships, the camaraderie. I miss that a lot. I miss that a lot. Really, I miss that. Everything else, even that, I've made it here, but it was totally different there.
Yeah.
And it was because I think we had to look out for each other
Mm.
more so there. So I do miss that a lot. But I don't miss the cold.
Mm.
I don't miss the steamed collard greens.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember that. Remember
I
they
don't remember
serving
them.
collard. You know
They tried. They
that
tried.
they tried. You don't remember that, Alvin?
No,
That's
Freshman
you.
year.
But you know why? Because he didn't live in HRC, so he didn't go to the
I
HRC
didn't. I
cafeteria.
didn't get the collard greens.
He
I
would go. He
No,
would
this
go.
was the
I got the
main.
broccoli.
This was the main because I remember Elton. He took. I don't know why I remember this because he took a Ziploc bag. It was like a whole collard green, like literally not cut up or anything. They steamed it or
one
whatever.
one green.
One big ass green. Shout out to Elton.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Big
Yeah.
E.
So that's probably what I miss is the friendships, the whole bonding, the bond that we all made when we were there.
Where did you live your 4 years? I know HRC first year. Where'd you live the other 4 years?
HRC the second year on the second floor. Then I lived in was it Birch Apartments? Is that the where the not next to the commas, the blue ones next to the commas,
It was
and then
Newell, and
Newell.
then there was the other ones, right?
Yeah. So I lived in the blue one,
Okay,
Hmm.
the junior, Newell senior year. So
gotcha,
that's
gotcha, gotcha.
where
Okay.
Can't remember where you lived. I remember the HRC, but I don't remember the apartments for some reason. You must not have invited me over for dinner or nothing like that.
well, honestly, the senior year, your wife was my roommate, so, so I don't
Wait,
know why you don't remember
our senior year or her senior year?
Her, it was
our
her senior
senior.
year. So you, her,
And
and
Audrey?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, and
oh,
then junior,
because
y'all were out in Earlville.
We was in
our
Earlville.
senior year,
Senior year.
Yeah,
Senior year.
yeah.
junior year, we were in the Newell apartments.
Um, we're gonna take a pause, give
Okay.
some shout to our sponsor, Hope Murals, and then we'll come back and continue this conversation with Shireen Brown. So, this episode is sponsored by Hope Murals. Hope Murals is a nonprofit that provides adolescent youth with an interactive experience of creative expression via an urban arts platform that stimulates both mental and physical development. Please visit their website at www.hopemurals.org to learn more and find ways you can support the work they do. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. As always, appreciate our sponsor. Beanie, we're gonna need you with all of your entrepreneurial interests to be one of our sponsors of our show, by the
Absolutely.
way. Um, just throwing that out there. Um, but you're gonna need to take us up on our offer and dub us a commercial so we can put you in this. But thank you, Hope Murals. Also want to make sure we shout out our network, Defy Life. Check out their podcast hub, www.defilifepods.com. You can also check us out on all of your favorite podcast streaming services. If you want written content, check out godefylife.com. And without a doubt, make sure you check out the branded apparel at defylifegear.com. And again, make sure you cop that Aftergate gear because it is coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned. So now let's talk about the current event question. So here's the time, Beanie, where we ask a question, non-Colgate related question. So here's our question. What, from your opinion, what do you think about the legalization of marijuana? We just had a um, Senator Schumer, another Senator Cory Booker, say that they, as Democrats, were going to make it a policy issue and that they were going to push for the legalization of marijuana. I know you are a farmer, um, an herbalist, a naturalist. Curious to hear your stance on legalization.
I'm definitely for the legalization of marijuana. There's just so many medicinal purposes and effects of it. It'll also do a decriminalization of our men and women in prison, and just basically put things back in the road. Ironically, back in the 1920s, marijuana was legal.
Mm,
So exactly. So
teach.
yes. So after they made it illegal, guess what happened? Pharmaceutical companies came along and started making synthetic drugs.
Mm,
But marijuana has so many medicinal purposes and benefits that I feel like it definitely should be legalized. And let me just say this: obviously, North Carolina, well, not obviously, but North Carolina is not legal to have to sell, smoke, use marijuana. And this is where I reside. But I've been dealing
hmm.
with hemp. It is legal here. And the one thing that I realized by mistake is that CBD, which is in which we extract from the hemp, has so many helpful things in it because I started using it for pain, for anxiety, for energy. It's just so many different things that have helped. I had bug bites. I put it on my bug bites. It was something crazy I did. Or actually, I feel like I did something to my thumb, crazy, because I think it was just like carpal tunnel because I was opening up Jolly Ranchers and I did something to my thumb. And then I make one of the things I do is I create wreaths. I don't want to say I make them. I create wreaths. And my thumb was messed up, and I had my sciatica was messing up. And a friend of mine was like, I was making CBD oil. It's like, why don't you just try it? Well, I never tried it before. Put it on. This was in November. My thumb has not bothered me since.
So you put it on as a topical
As a
treatment.
topical.
Okay.
So I make actual the tinctures, processed tinctures. I am a licensed processor of hemp slash CBD here in North Carolina. So I use it as a topical. I put it in my skincare. I do a skincare line. I do the tincture so you can put it under your tongue. I do a pain roll on with it as well. But I just actually I had the oil right there, and it didn't immediately stop my thumb the next day. But like I said, I haven't had that pain again. I didn't have my side, and my back hasn't bothered me again since then, and those were both in November. But
Interesting.
it's very interesting. So I wasn't before. I was like, what CBD? I didn't even know what it was. It was just new. I didn't want to. I didn't even. I wasn't interested in it. But to hear so many other people talk about it, especially I had run into a friend of mine. Her daughter had just passed away, and the way she was dealing with it was taking CBD because it was good for anxiety. And so then somebody else say something about it, and I was like, let me. One of my church friends was at a CBD convention in Vegas, and I was like, let me look into this and see. Um, One thing I will tell you that for those who smoke cannabis or weed or marijuana, whatever you call it, they actually are less likely to have COVID or have a bad, if they do get COVID, it's not that bad on their lungs. So for
Interesting.
those who do smoke it, the rule of thumb has been it does not, COVID does not impact you as much with that in your system.
Interesting.
Very
Interesting.
interesting. Very
Wow.
interesting. Yes. So legalize it.
So,
Hmm.
Legalize it.
how long you been processing hemp?
I just started last July. Last
Okay.
Yep. So I'm just in the beginning stages. But and actually, let me tell you this: I'm about to rebrand myself. So once I rebrand myself, I will definitely become a sponsor.
All right.
Well, if you need some, support and sampling any of your product line, just so you get it just right, you just holler at your boy down here in Florida, where it's almost legal in certain zip codes.
Wow.
Yeah, man, yeah, we'll look out for you.
I
You know what I'm
appreciate.
saying?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I do a tea, but I can't. Again, I'm doing the tea. You can't sell edibles in North Carolina. You can't do edibles, but so I can do a tea bag, but I can't do the actual tea. But the tea that I use is like an energy. It's an energy.
Yeah, we need all that. We need all that. I need the whole line. Anxiety. I need a double dosage of that. Make that a triple. I train clients who have all types of
Mm.
sciatic problems, and that could be, yeah, I got all type of clientele for you.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I'll send you a sample. I will.
Okay, for sure, for sure. So it serves as a perfect segue into sort of like, we talked about Colgate, the Colgate experience going into Colgate, what Colgate was like while you're there. Kind of take us through memory lane in terms of like, who are you now, post 30 years of Colgate. You made reference to the person you are now having a lot to do with what your Colgate experience was like, but I'm sure there were intervals and there were steps along the way. So you graduate Colgate 91 out of Hamilton, New York. Where does life take you from then to now?
Honestly, life took me to I'm not gonna say the bottom, but when I graduated, you saw my major. I did not want to go on to school any further at all. I thought I was gonna actually go and live in Hartford, the insurance capital of the world, and become an insurance actuary.
Mm.
Um, I went to the interview. And I sat in this room with five folks who questioned me and questioned me. And I left that interview and I was like, I will not do this again. So I didn't get the job clearly because I probably would still be there. But I didn't get the job, but I was like, this is not, I don't like anybody sitting there interviewing me like that anyway and picking me to pieces. So I'm just not that person. But then I couldn't find a job for a long time. I ended up doing becoming a buyer's assistant for the May Company, which was G Fox and Company in Hartford, but the May Company, which was owned by later purchased Macy's. And I actually love that. So that was a fashion industry, and I thought I was going to do that, but I was living with my mother, then my father. Let's just do a version of that story. And I wasn't in a comfortable spot, and I found somebody down in North Carolina who needed a roommate. So I just packed up and came to North Carolina with my little trunk. And that was in November 2nd of 1991. I couldn't stay in Connecticut any longer because I could not afford to live on my own. And down here, I was my little sharecropper story. I was making $5.80 an hour as a temp, and but we made it. We made
That
it.
was that was more
And
than minimum wage.
because I was making 313 at Colgate.
That's it.
But yeah, so I was making $5.80. We would. I mean, I literally is which is hilarious. My mother bought me a gallon of grits and a gallon of cornmeal and a thing of maple syrup, and I was living off of grits and Johnny cakes, which I never ate in my life before, but I learned how to fry cornmeal and put syrup on it. And then I credit card. I had a credit card from college, American Express, and we would go eat. Me and my roommate would charge dinner like once a week and go eat. That was before you could, use credit cards at the grocery store. It was so bad. We would punch holes in the checks at the bottom, so it couldn't go through the credit card processing machine. So you had to manually process it to give you a day or two to get that check to go.
Wow. All the tricks of the trade.
But
Yes.
so and we lost. We didn't lose power. The power was cut off many times. Phone was cut off many times. I didn't have a car, and I'm in North Carolina with no car and a bus that stopped at 5:30 in the afternoon. I would take the
Wow.
bus to work. That was fine in the morning. After after work, because the bus stopped by the time I got downtown, I used to have to take the bus up and walk a mile and a half home. And so it was, but in college, if you don't remember anything about me, you remember I can make a meal out of a piece of cabbage. I don't know. It baffles me to this day how I would get a meal out of, like, there was no food in the refrigerator, but we would have a meal. So I went down here. I stayed down here. I did that. I worked a couple of jobs. I got a couple of old beat up cars. I'm a hustler. I'm a born hustler as long as it's legal. So I made it. I went on and I finally got a job. I don't know. I'm sorry. My first job was a receptionist down here, and the reason why they gave me the job as a receptionist at his mortgage company was because he saw that I went to Colgate University and it had a great reputation.
Mm.
Um, yeah, exactly. So I stayed there, but I was always one who wanted to move forward. I wasn't going to be a receptionist. I thought that was just my foot in the door, but they wanted to keep me as a receptionist. That did not work. So I just kept moving around. I eventually worked in the loan servicing company business. Then I went on foreclosing on people. And then I went on and became a licensed real estate agent, a realtor, and then a licensed broker. I did that for years, and then I would switch back and forth between real estate and loan servicing. And then it's been 17 years now. Of somebody I met when I first moved down here was a dentist, so I started working for him, and I ran his business side. And I always said I was a CFO without the money or the title, because of a multi-million-dollar business. We went from two practices to eight, six
Wow.
functioning, and from 17 employees to 75, and I did everything. But anyway, um, I worked there for 16 years and decided 16 years and 3 months I had had enough, and I just walked away. But well, especially after somebody I got exposed to COVID, and I was like, that's okay, I'm done. But what Colgate actually taught me was some of my um, side gigs. Like I said, between event planning and just doing things, never giving up. I just felt like I had the freedom to do a lot of different things and try different things. So even here, I took that and just decided to just grow on it. I just look at what people want and what people need, and I try to focus on making that, creating it and making money off of it.
Hmm.
I mean, it is what it is, but being able to handle the money up there and the different groups I was in, event planning, scheduling, all that stuff has brought me to learn and do and continue to do what I do with my personal business now.
I mean, you referenced several experiences, which, I would classify as you learned. Colgate taught us how to be resourceful because we lacked, but in that resourcefulness, we developed resilience,
Exactly.
which also taught us how to be sort of multidisciplinary. And with that comes a creativity that we balance
Hmm.
between things that we know we can do well, that we can flip into doing it well enough to make money, to things that we might like to do. And these become these passion projects that maybe initially aren't lucrative, but we know that if we pull the pieces together, we could flip this and make this into a venture that it balances both, the finances, but
Hmm.
something that we enjoy. And it's interesting to hear you talk about building someone else's empire, and then getting to a point where you're like, hold on, I'm gonna apply all this to my own business. And so congratulations. That was me reading the silver lining, because I feel like I have in many ways a parallel story to my life. But from riding that bus, and walking that mile to get to thinking you making it because you finally get your first hoopty, and now what's that expression? Wheels are better than heels, no matter
All
if my
right.
car, even if my car don't look too good, to now getting to a point where you're holding it down for yourself, and that's a journey that I think that I applaud, because it builds character. And you're right, it does come, comes from a lot of places, but Hamilton was real special about learning some of those lessons.
How to be resourceful. That was another one because, don't forget, between working several jobs there, I was one of the people who worked at AIM, so I had to walk down.
AIM, whoa, take a shout out to AIM.
Shout out to Ames.
It taught me, like I said, a lot, even just on the business side of things. I learned a lot of different things just by being involved in different areas at Colgate.
Mhm.
But I need to take you with me so that you can summarize what I just said all the time.
It's all good.
And credit to Colgate, but your parents were pretty instrumental in who you are as well. Got to know of them,
Yeah,
throughout Colgate, and I know they are really supportive of you. But I also know who you've turned out to be, and my memory of them, they definitely had some influence on who you are.
they definitely did. But you have to remember the crazy thing with me is my mother is still Tommy, but she does, she's still Tommy. It'd be like, Ma, you don't have a job, but she's Tommy, and my father was in his one job for 39 years.
Mm.
So when I told, well, they knew what. Honestly, the crazy thing was when I told my father that I was quitting, but I had a 1 year plan that did not last more than a month because I couldn't take it anymore. But my father was for it. He was with me. He was supportive. And I told my mother I was quitting, and she was like, well, "What about your nieces?" I was like, "They're my nieces. They're not my responsibility." Then all of a sudden, she's worried about me quitting my job because I can't support my nieces. That was backwards. So that was really weird. 'Cause I thought my father would be the one that would have a fit that I was quitting. But like I said, he was the supportive one.
Mm.
So they are a lot of who I am, but they
Hmm.
are also the reason I'm not in Hartford, Connecticut now because I did not want to live in their shadow.
Mm.
Mm.
I wanted to be my own person. So I didn't want to be Bob Brown's daughter. I didn't want to be Cynthia because I looked just like my mother. I
Hmm.
didn't want to be her daughter. I wanted to be me. So that was that was another reason why I moved down here, just to make my own name.
Create your blaze your own trail. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
Not at all. Not at all. 30 years later.
Exactly.
30 years later.
30.
So 30 years later, you are a lot different from the young woman who graduated from Hamilton. Looking back, thinking about all that you've learned,
Mhm.
what are some of the words of wisdom you would offer to someone entering college, someone in college, graduating college? What would be some of those words you would share, kind of looking back right now?
The when I thought about this, and I actually told I spoke to some students before a
You were on a
couple months.
panel like Colgate, yeah, entrepreneur panel, right?
Right. And I say the same thing, which is enjoy it. Don't take things too seriously. Study, make your own decisions. Don't look at other people and compare yourself to them.
Mm,
Because I had to get to that point because I was like, oh, I'm just not as, and this took a while. I was like, oh, I'm not as successful as everybody else, but success has its own definition. And my thing is
mhm,
make sure you're happy. Whatever you do, make sure you're happy. Balance it because I just look at a lot of people that I thought, might as well balance one way as opposed to another. But it's like balance it. Enjoy your life. Don't stress over it. Do your work, but make sure that you take time for yourself. And even it's like even um, join the different clubs because those experiences I won't get again. And I was talking about, I'm not going, I would never, what are the odds of me seeing Angela Davis, one,
mhm.
talking live besides cooking for her, even just actually being in her presence, or any of the other people that we brought up there. So just take it all in, absorb it, enjoy yourself, study and work, and just don't take things too seriously.
That's what's up.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Yeah.
Grown beanie. Look at you. Look at you.
Gary, I'm still me though. I'm still
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
Without
no
a
doubt.
doubt.
Ain't we all?
yes, yeah, and I'm enjoying it. It's like that. That hasn't changed. I still have no sense, and I'm not gonna start. I'm gonna enjoy life. Um, I mean, that's it. I said my goals are all off from everybody else's anyway. So, and I love them. So,
Definitely have always appreciated your energy, your free spirit. And like I said, fearless. Like I really, definitely
thank
was down for it. Like,
And in real talk, the and this is not, not to sound sexist and all, but there aren't a lot of women in general, but as we keep it to Colgate, that I could say were my sisters and was
hmm
down as brothers, and meaning that we could be in situations whether it was in the classroom or out the classroom, and you just kind of knew there were certain people that was always in your corner, and I always knew that
hmm
Miss Brown, Sister Brown, was was
four
was was
years,
down
Four
for the cause. Yes, yes, sir,
four
yes, sir.
years,
four
4 years.
years rolled
I
with,
mean,
and the testimony was when I haven't seen her in 20 plus years, and she ended up coming down to Miami, and we met up for drinks, and she we got to
okay.
share and reminisce, and it was dope because it was like we hadn't skipped a beat, and that it will becomes the tribute to that down for the cause kind of experience, which I talk about it with Al and Steve and some other core
hmm
cats. And when you talk about the females that fall into that,
Very few,
probably on one hand,
very few. There
if
were
that may.
quite a few females. I mean, there's females we were friendly with. Can't
Absolutely.
say there's too many female friends I
right.
left with Colgate.
Mhm.
And so shout out to Beanie Brown.
Thank you. No, I appreciate y'all that way. I really do. Y'all took me in and let me be me, and just let me be me. That's it. That's one thing that it's hard to. That's what I miss. Let me say the authenticity. People just let you be
Mm.
whatever you say, what you say,
Mhm.
and just keep on moving. So yeah, no, I appreciate. I definitely enjoyed our friendship. Enjoy. Let me put that in future tense. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm that little girl. You know me. I'm a girl or a
Yep.
woman now.
No,
Still,
you are, without a doubt. I mean, because real talk, you never lost your what is it,
I don't know.
femininity or whatever. That wasn't
At all.
nothing like.
That was
Again, it
never
was
in
a
question. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. It was you was who you was.
Take it or leave it.
Hilarious,
Yeah,
hilarious,
yeah,
hilarious,
for sure.
hilarious. Um, so it's a little surprise question that we never put on
The script.
the script. So because we know you're gonna prep and read all of
Do a
the
research.
information and listen to other shows and everything. So we gotta throw something at you to keep you on
Okay.
your cues. Um,
Okay.
so looking back, um,
Mhm.
there were definitely some upperclassmen that had an influence in all of us, right? And you talk about when you were in high school wanting to make it better for those who came behind you, and definitely that was the culture at Colgate. So I'm curious, when you look back to your experience, is there like any memorable words of wisdom, perspective that an upperclassman offered you?
I was a rebel. So I didn't get words of wisdom per se then. I got warnings.
Well, there you go. I mean, it could have been anything like, yo, don't take this professor, or this professor is known this way. I mean, that to me, that's valuable information. Or it could be, don't live in that dorm because, you know,
You got stay away from that dude. Stay away from that guy.
Right.
Surgeon General.
Yeah, right. And so I didn't listen. I did what I wanted to do. And then I honestly, and I don't care what I hear some of the stories of these other women, and I'm like, well, y'all shouldn't have listened because it seems like y'all got worse than I did. So yeah, so that's a little look, let's talk about a freshman year. It's a little blur to me. I mean, I remember going to class and I talk about that, but it seemed like Tuesday through Sunday, or Tuesday through Monday, we party. So I only
Hello.
had like, yeah, so it's really hard. A lot of things are like blurs. So, yeah, they, I cannot honestly remember any good words of wisdom that I don't. They were seemed like they were studying and Shireen wasn't studying, so therefore it was hard I think they just thought I was a lost cause. So yeah, I hate to say that, but now I'm building better relationships with them. But I'm still me.
Hmm.
I'm still me. But I feel like, okay, life is what you make it, and you gotta make some mistakes. So and I feel like that's what I did. I feel like I made my own choices and I may have gotten judged for them, but I didn't care because it was my own.
Hmm.
Nobody was gonna put limits on me from experiencing life. And
Mm.
that's the way I looked at it. Cause you gotta, I did some crazy stuff. And I joke because I'm the one, you know, I'm the one who had the school van, and I think it was a sophomore year, and I brought the whole Boston University basketball team over to the dorm. I didn't. It's like I went. I didn't remember that I threw a party after.
Wow.
Yeah, you almost cut me that night.
Wow.
I mean, I brought the team over. Whoever could fit in the van, we had a party in the
15,
basement of Harlem
15 passenger
Renaissance
van.
Center.
We have 17.
Come
Okay,
on
so what?
through.
So it's like I did. I think I'm not gonna say I'm a risk taker, but it's life, and I can. I felt like I was about because after our summer year, I had seen enough. I think
Mm.
whatever else was not going to impact me the same as that summer.
Summer. Oh yeah.
That was a very impactful summer for all of us.
Right. So it was like, whatever. I'm just gonna enjoy life, and hopefully, I did not intentionally hurt anybody. I mean, I hurt people, but not intentionally, and that's the way I still live now. I'm enjoying myself. The only thing I'm gonna take precautions about is driving alone late at night after drinking. And less than that, as long as I'm not intentionally hurting anybody, I'm good. And if I intentionally hurt you, or if I hurt you, let me know. If not, I'll never know. But I'm not. My whole point in life is to enjoy life, be happy, and not intentionally hurt people. And
Gotcha.
that's what I feel like I did on campus. I enjoyed what I did. Life was what I made it. Um, I chose not to study as much. I chose to enjoy it, but I still did what I needed to do to graduate with a lot of fun.
Bong.
Exclamation point.
Bang. Um, I think you mentioned just a follow up on one thing. Um, how m- how long did you say it took for you to return back to campus after you graduated?
25 years.
25 years. Wow. So where are you
25
at
years.
now? Where are you at now in that
Oh,
journey in
I'm
terms of
ready.
engagement?
I'm trying to get everybody up there. June, what is it? I keep saying the wrong dates. I say 6th to 9th, but it's the middle of the week. But whatever those dates, I think whatever it is, I'm already planning. I'm already getting everybody up there because my whole thought process is there was a lot of hurt towards, and it was probably it seemed like the last 2 weeks of my senior year, but there was a lot of hurt, a lot of pain that a lot of people had. Okay, but that does not make my entire 4 years. And
Mm.
once I decided, because I think we had talked about it, and I was hemming and hawing, and I was like, well, let me just go up here. I mean, I had a ball, I had a ball that weekend,
Hmm.
and it was me, and it was, I think I was, well, Sharon Smith came up. It was it's Sharon Smith, Sharon Sullivan, and all of y'all, I had a ball. And I was like, okay, well, I can do this because whatever that pain was, I can't remember. I
Mm.
really can't remember what it was. And it really did not impact my life that much. So I'm going back. I'm reclaiming this campus. We were part of that campus. We need to go back we need to go
Own it
back and
and
take the
own it.
campus. We
Reclaim
own
it.
it. I mean, that's
You
it,
know what's
regardless of what you think, it's, hmm,
it's
it's
interesting.
still part of you. Those 4 years you were there. It's still part of your life. So you,
You know, when we were in our tenure there, and I remember being part of Dr. Eleni Teller's sort of tutelage, and she often referred to the Sankofa way, which was
right.
return to the source and fetch it.
Mm-hmm.
And although it was applied to learning your history, understanding Pan-Africanism, and more of we have in common versus what we don't, is beanie full circle, talking about we need to go back
Mm-hmm.
to the source
Mm-hmm.
and claim it and understand, put our past in its perspective to be able to empower our present and launch and live the rest of our future to its max, because we're not leveraging those resources and relationships
Right.
because we haven't returned to the source to claim it.
Preach. Preach on, y'all. I'm with y'all. Shireen,
Yes, sir.
what would you like to promote? What would you like to share?
Hey,
What would you like
think
to
think of all
plug?
your ventures, but what are the ones you really want to like blast off, because this is that network opportunity.
Okay. Let me promote this
How
all on the ShireneBrown.com. On there, I make custom t-shirts. I make earrings. I make skincare products. I make medicinal teas. I make CBD products, which are not on there yet. Um, I make wooden. I work with wood. I like to say it that way. So I make cigar holders, phone holders, like I said, earrings, engraved glasses, which I actually Colgate commissioned me to engrave glasses, and I still have 30 something
okay.
over here in my corner. Um, for
Wait,
the
as
alumni
in
of color.
frames? Like
No,
what you mean
no
engraved?
drinking
Oh
champagne
shit.
flute.
I'm over here
Yeah.
thinking eyewear. Okay.
No, no, I can engrave some. You want send them over? I'll engrave yours.
Ah,
What I do, I create wreaths, and and an interesting thing with me. I went viral on Facebook 2 years ago. Uh, Probably it was shared. Well, it was shared at least 150,000 times on Instagram, and then a whole 30,000 times. I'm not going to go in the hundreds on Facebook. These two wreaths that I made, which is a man and a woman Xmas. It said "Always kiss me goodnight," and I think that's why they liked it, and that I went viral with that for a minute. So I do
Wow.
different types of wreaths. I do, yeah. I mean, let me tell you, it's more so if you ask me if I can do it, I'm going to try it. But right now, I'm working on my farm, so I'm up every morning at the farm for a couple of hours. Shoot, which I never thought I would do in life. And I'm on. Uh, I'm trying to figure out what else I do. I sell black soap. I sell the CBD skincare products. I make natural deodorant, which has been working for me for 13 years. I mean, since 2013. Um, and the medicinal teas. I do tinctures. I actually do a COVID care package for people. And I actually sent out two today for people who have tried my tinctures in the past that have had COVID and my teas, and they've actually helped them there. So the one thing, everything with me is multiple sources of income.
Hmm.
Everything is seasonal for me. So this is right now. This is t-shirt farm season, and then it's gonna go back to cold, and I'll be able to study some more and learn more about different herbs because I do want to uh, be able to become an herbalist and actually be able to treat people with herbs. That is one of my goals, and I've always been. I'm the 1 out of 10. So if it's gonna impact somebody, it's gonna impact me. So that's why I'm a little shy about taking different medicines because I'm the one that a little have the side effects. So I try to do everything natural as possible. But like I said, it's on ShireneBrown.com. Um,
I'm
they
checking
are
it right now. I'm checking the shop section.
yes,
Okay.
and like I said, I'm rebranding. And actually, I'm talking to somebody who's supposed to be working on my website to improve upon it. And uh, and I'm gonna start a GoFundMe page. I'm really not, but I need to start a GoFundMe page on camera so I can take better pictures. Um, and
Get, get
that's
you a young photographer.
not
A inter, intern
yes.
intern.
Well, I had one before, but then COVID came, and so I really went
Mm.
through like a year of don't come near me, and don't touch me. I don't want you in my house. I don't want you breathing in my space. So I'll have to wait a little longer because these interns are still catching the COVID, um, and I want to get them past that section. But I do need to get a couple of interns.
They
So
could start out virtually. You know what I'm saying?
yes, 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 yes. So I do have a little help over here.
Okay.
And I think that's it. Like I said, if you ask me if I can do it, I can do it. I don't say no to much. Um,
Any social media handles?
Shireen Brown. I think it's Shireen D Brown. It might be Shireen Brown on Instagram. Shireen's Custom Creations on Facebook. Naturally Made by Shireen on Facebook, or just Shireen Brown. The Browns Naturally Made Farm. But again, I am rebranding everything. Everything. I'm just working with these people to I have a logo already, but I'm just working with somebody else because I love my name. I love my name, but I'm taking it down a different route right now. So
For sure.
Gotcha.
that's
For
it.
sure. For
So
sure.
once I rebrand CBD products, everything's rolling out at once.
What's the timeline?
But
What's the timeline for that?
you know what? Well, they were supposed to call me last Friday to give me my information. So I'm thinking by the beginning of the year to that gives me enough time to do what I want to do.
Hmm.
So January 1st. But
Okay.
CBD while you can now because once I rebrand, the price is going up on everything. I make vanilla. I make wine. I can't tell you that though, huh?
So let me know when we gonna have the Shireen Brown clearance sale before the rebranding kick in. You know what I'm saying, and do some bulk orders. But I definitely am dead up about that sciatica and that tea,
Oh yeah.
and got some people that I want to drop that on because I know that if it worked for them,
They'll
they
use it.
about to be lifetime clients for you.
Hmm.
Believe it or not, probably about 50% of my clients or customers are not even local because I'm not trying to stay local at all. So a lot of people have gone through referrals. I ship no problem at all. I'm international.
Here we
I
go.
ship
All right.
Okay,
international. So yeah, so it doesn't take much to do that.
that's it.
But yep. Yeah, so that's it. Definitely check out the website, my Facebook page, like them all, like
On it. On it.
So
yeah,
get on it, Aftergate listeners. All those, show her some love. Check out her website and place some orders. All right,
yes,
that's how we do. Rep for our click.
yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
And any closing, any last thing before we any famous last words?
You know what? Just live life and take care of your health. That's it. I've really switched up. You can't tell. Most days, well, I don't like to label myself at all, but some days I'm vegan, some days I'm butterarian because I'll eat butter. Some days I'm lobsterarian because I'll eat some lobster. But I gave up dairy as of June 1st. I don't label myself.
Yes. You know,
So
old lanes.
does that mean no more sweet potato pies?
No, I make them. I don't really eat them, so I make sweet potato pies.
So you gave up meat too?
I gave up meat. I gave up meat September 1st, 2019. But
Oh, good for you.
yeah, but yeah, I lost a lot of weight doing that.
Mhm.
But I gave up dairy as of June 1st, 2020. So that was my whole thing. Like I said, I'll eat a little butter every now and then. Butter's good. Um, but and I'll eat some. I just started eating fish and lobster. I love me some lobster. Recently, but less than that, no meat, no dairy. So it's been working for me. I feel a lot better in life. Period.
Amen. Amen.
All right,
Yeah.
man. We appreciate you, Shireen.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
definitely thank
I
you for
appreciate y'all
joining
too.
us.
It wasn't painful,
Thank
was
you.
it?
No, I enjoyed it. I could talk all night. Health and happiness. I can do that.
No doubt.
Well,
So
thank you. We appreciate you coming
uh,
through and supporting us, showing some love. Um, thank you to our listeners because this has been another episode of Aftergate, powered by the Fi Life Network. And make sure you show us some love. Check us out on all of those platforms, whether it's Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, wherever find us, show us love. Make sure you spread the word. And thank you to our interns, Kathy, Izzy, Sophia. Appreciate all the work y'all doing. Um, enjoy y'all last month before it's almost time to get y'all back up on campus. So shout out to y'all. And again, just be ready for all the dope episodes that are following. All right. Appreciate y'all. Peace, family.
Peace. Peace.
Shh. You hear that? Listen closer. That, my friend, is the deafening sound of focus. It drowns out all the useless noise that can clutter the moment. Naysayers don't exist. Haters? Smaters? The peanut gallery? Who's that? When you in your zone, all that noise and all that buzz is just elevator music. So, enjoy your journey, focus on your goal, and bask in the quiet roar that is progress. Because when it's your time to shoot that shot, spit that verse, or close that deal, the only voice that matters is yours. Defy life.